Morning dear students, I am Amrita, your chemistry lecturer. So today in this session, we will start our discussion with the photochemistry. So first we will define photochemistry. So photochemistry is a branch of chemistry which deals with the study of interaction of radiation with matter resulting into a physical change or into a chemical reaction is known as photochemistry. So once again I will define. Observe here, photochemistry means in photochemistry you will recognize the two terms. One is photo and another one is chemistry. So it is defined as it is a branch of chemistry in which the interaction of radiation of matter, the interaction of radiation with matter resulting into a physical change or into a chemical reaction is known as photochemistry. That means when a radiation is interact with a matter which is results into a chemical change or into a physical change is known as photochemistry. Okay. In photochemistry, the rate and mechanism of the reaction is studied by the after the interaction of the radiant energy. So what do you mean by radiant energy? Where do you get this radiant energy means? This is very simple. Radiant energy is also known as electromagnetic radiation. Okay, then the radiant energy is defined as the energy that is transferred by the electromagnetic radiation is known as radiant energy. So electromagnetic radiations contain visible light, X-rays, gamma rays, etc. Okay. So the radiant energy is described in terms of tiny packet of energy is known as photons. So this is about photochemistry and the definition of radiant energy. The next important thing is radiations. So what do you mean by radiation? Radiation means which includes electromagnetic waves. So the electromagnetic waves contains microwaves, gamma rays, X-rays, etc. Then the another thing is the radiation of photochemical importance are those which lie in the visible and ultraviolet region from 8000 to 2000 angstrom. Okay. Then in photochemistry there are two type of process you will observe. One is photophysical process and another one is photochemical process. So let us start with photophysical process. So photophysical process, it is a very simple process. Observe here, photo means light. That means the photophysical process is defined as the process in which it can take place in the presence of light but do not result into a chemical reaction is known as photophysical process. Okay. The next point is in this process it is arises by the absorption of light by the substance followed by the emission of absorbed light. That means if a substance absorbs some amount of light, then after a time interval it will emit the same amount of a light. Okay. Then the third thing is in photophysical process you will observe fluorescence. So fluorescence means it is defined as the absorbed light is emitted instantaneously, then it is called fluorescence. Or it is also defined as if a molecule or atom, suppose if a molecule or atom absorbs certain amount of radiation, then after absorbing a radiation of higher frequency, it gets excited. Then excited molecule after some time what happens means the excited molecule re-emits the radiation of same frequency within a short time. Then it is called as fluorescence. So once again I will define fluorescence. Fluorescence means it is very simple. If a molecule absorbs a radiation of higher frequency, after absorbing it gets excited, then excited molecule re-emits the radiation of same frequency or it may be lower frequency within a short time is known as fluorescence. Next we will define the fluorescent substance. Fluorescent substance means, for example, uranium or iodine or mercury is an example for fluorescent substance. So what this fluorescent substance do means, the substance which exhibit fluorescence is known as fluorescent substance. In photophysical process, you will observe another important thing is phosphorescence. So phosphorescence means if the absorbed light is emitted after time lag, then the process is known as phosphorescence. Or this phosphorescence is also defined as if a substance absorbs a radiation of higher frequency, then the emission of radiation is continuous for some time. Even when the incident light is absent, then the process is known as phosphorescence. If a substance exhibits phosphorescent, then it is known as phosphorescent substance. Okay. For example, zinc sulfide or alkaline earth sulfide, example calcium sulfide, barium sulfide, they are all comes under phosphorescent substance. So next we will start our discussion with a photochemical reaction. So this is a very simple reaction. In this reaction, what happens means it takes place by the absorption of light by the reacting substance. That means reacting substance absorbs some amount of light, then the photochemical reaction will takes place. Generally, this reaction, that means the photochemical reaction, will fall under visible and ultraviolet region. So the next one is example for photochemical reactions are the combination of hydrogen and chlorine to give hydrogen chloride. That means when hydrogen combine with the chlorine, it will give hydrogen chloride molecule. So this is one example, and another one is photochemical reaction. Another example for photochemical reaction is photosynthesis. In photosynthesis process, what happens means it is the best example for photochemical reaction in which leaves of the green plants prepare glucose and oxygen from carbon dioxide and water in the presence of what? Chlorophyll and sunlight. So this is an example for photochemical reactions. So next we will study the differences between a photochemical reaction and thermochemical reaction. Okay. So photochemical reaction and thermochemical reaction, the main difference is in photochemical reaction it takes place by the absorption of light, whereas the thermochemical reaction takes place by the absorption of heat. Remember, photo means light whereas thermo means heat. So photochemical reaction takes place in the presence of or by the absorption of light, whereas thermochemical reaction takes place by the absorption of heat. The second difference is this photochemical reaction cannot take place in dark, whereas thermochemical reaction takes place even in dark. The third difference is temperature play a very little role in photochemical reaction, whereas in thermochemical reaction temperature can play significant role and it is also effect on the rate of thermochemical reaction. The fourth difference of photochemical reaction is in photochemical reaction the free energy change of photochemical reaction may not be negative. That means the free energy change in photochemical reaction either may be positive or may be negative. But in case of thermochemical reaction, the free energy change, that is it is given by delta energy. In the free energy change for a thermochemical reaction is always negative. The next difference is in photochemical reaction, it is the activation energy is acquired by the absorption of photons of a suitable energy. That is, in photochemical reaction, activation energy arises by the absorption of photons. Photons means the tiny packets of energy is called photons. So, activation energy arises in photochemical reaction due to the absorption of photons of suitable energy, whereas in thermochemical reaction the activation energy arises due to the intermolecular collisions. Okay. Then the next difference is in photochemical reaction the reaction mixture is exposed to a light radiation. The molecules of one of the reactant may get excited. That means when a reaction mixture is exposed to a light radiation in photochemical reaction, the molecules of one of the reactant may get excited. and independent of the presence of the other species. Okay, it will not affect other species. Whereas in thermochemical reaction, the reaction mixture, if a reaction mixture is exposed to a heat radiation, observe here, whereas in the previous case you will observe in photochemical reaction light radiation, but here in thermochemical reaction, if a reaction mixture is exposed to a heat radiation, all the reactant molecules absorbs this radiation and get excited almost to the same extent. The last thing is, in photochemical reaction, it is initiated by the presence of photosensitizer, whereas in thermochemical reaction it is accelerated by the presence of catalyst. The next important note is, the Gibbs free energy for a photochemical reaction can be, sometimes it may be positive or negative. It is assumed that the photochemical reaction takes place in the presence of sunlight. You already know the photochemical reaction takes place in the presence of sunlight. Okay. For the Gibbs free energy will be positive. That means if the change in free energy or Gibbs free energy is positive, it is only due to the increased in the kinetic energy of the particles. Okay. However, this is not the case always. Sometimes what happens means, the Gibbs free energy for a photochemical reactions depend upon the internal change. That means if a Gibbs free energy in a photochemical reaction depends on an internal change, because of this the Gibbs free energy will give positive, and or it also gives a negative value. So this is all about introduction to a photochemistry. Thanks for watching.